When a politician takes office, does their family's digital footprint get sworn in right alongside them?
That is, that is the multi-million-dollar question keeping campaign managers awake at night right now.
Welcome to today's deep dive.
Right.
We are jumping right into a firestorm that is currently gripping New York City, and it is moving incredibly fast.
Yeah, it really is.
We're talking about a situation where just a single tap on a smartphone screen has sparked a massive political crisis. So, here is your 90-second news hook.
Let's hear it.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is engulfed in controversy today, but it is not actually for his own actions. He's under fire for the Instagram activity of his wife, Duwaji.
Right, just days after a similar scandal hit another major New York politician.
Exactly. Reports surfaced that Duwaji liked social media posts appearing to celebrate the tragic October 7th Hamas attacks. And suddenly, the mayor is playing defense, the administration is scrambling, and the city is fiercely divided.
It's a textbook modern political crisis, really. It blends the deeply personal with the, intensely political in ways that the old rules of governance just aren't equipped to handle.
They really aren't. So our mission for you today is to explore this increasingly blurry line. Where exactly do a politician's public duties end, and where do their family's private beliefs begin?
Which is tough to figure out.
It is. We're pulling from local news reports, investigative pieces, and even highly polarized public forums like Reddit to see what actual voters are saying on the ground.
We want to cut through the noise for you, figure out what this actually means for modern politics and how voters are processing these proxy controversies.
But before we get into the weeds here, I need to make a crucial impartiality disclaimer to you, our listener.
Very important.
Yes. The materials we are unpacking today contain highly charged, deeply emotional political content regarding the Israel-Hamas conflict. I want to be crystal clear right up front. Neither of us is taking a side here.
No, absolutely not.
We are not endorsing any viewpoints, and we are not injecting our personal biases into this discussion. Our job today is strictly and impartially reporting what is contained in the source material to help you understand the mechanics of this controversy.
Spot on. Our focus is the political fallout and the public reaction, giving you the full picture without tipping the scales.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We need to start with the digital paper trail. What exactly was liked on Instagram?
Right.
Jewish Insider is the publication that broke this story. They revealed that Duwaji, who is a Syrian-American artist, used her personal Instagram account to hit the like button on several specific posts right in the immediate aftermath of the October 7th attacks.
Which, for context, is an event that claimed 1,200 lives.
Right.
And the specifics of those posts are what triggered the intense backlash we're seeing. We aren't talking about vague statements hoping for peace. The reporting shows Duwaji liked posts from activist organizations, specifically groups called the Slow Factory and the People's Forum.
And the imagery in these posts was graphic and highly provocative. It wasn't just text.
Exactly. The posts featured images of a bulldozer physically breaching the Gaza border fence. They showed attackers riding on top of captured Israeli Defense Force vehicles.
And the captions on these posts matched the intensity of the photos. They framed the October 7th massacre using phrases like collective liberation.
Right.
They described the attack as breaking the walls of apartheid and resisting apartheid since 1948.
Which is a framing that obviously ignited massive outrage. But you also have to look at the broader pattern the reporting highlighted here. This wasn't framed as a one-off accidental scroll.
No, it wasn't.
Duwaji had previously posted a tribute to a Palestinian influencer who reportedly had ties to Hamas.
And here is where the household dynamics get really interesting to me. She also liked posts promoting a massive rally in Times Square on October 8th. But Mayor Mamdani himself publicly criticized that exact Times Square rally at the time.
He did. He said it made light of the massacre.
Right. So you have a situation where a politician, he was a state assemblyman at the time, is publicly condemning an event while his partner is reportedly at home engaging with content that promotes the organizers of that same event.
It highlights a massive, glaring disconnect, and the press immediately seized upon it because it raises an uncomfortable question about what conversations are happening at the dinner table versus what is being said at the press conference podium.
So how does a mayor handle a PR crisis happening inside his own house? When the press confronted Mayor Mamdani, he refused to discuss the specific posts his wife liked. He didn't defend the content at all.
He just built a wall.
Exactly. He drew an absolute hard line between City Hall and his marriage.
Huh.
I want to read his exact quote from the press conference because this is the cornerstone of his entire defense.
Go ahead.
He said, "My wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall."
That statement is a classic political firewall strategy. City Hall is actively refusing to engage with Duwaji's Instagram feed.
Right, they just pivot.
Every single time a reporter asks about her, the administration redirects the conversation back to the mayor's official public stance. They issue standardized statements emphasizing his track record.
Which is that he unequivocally condemns Hamas as a terrorist organization, and he has repeatedly called October 7th a horrific war crime.
He is basically pleading with the public to judge him on his public record, not his wife's private social media.
But I have to push back on that a bit. Is a modern political spouse ever truly private?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the historical context here is vital for you to understand. Look at former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio's wife, Chirlane McCray.
Oh, wow, yes.
The contrast between McCray and Duwaji is stark, and it's central to Mamdani's defense.
Right, because Chirlane McCray was deeply integrated into the government structure. She wasn't just showing up to cut ribbons.
Not at all.
She held prominent formal roles within her husband's administration. She chaired the mayor's fund to advance New York City, and she led the city's massive Thrive NYC mental health initiative, which, by the way, was a billion-dollar program.
She was a public official in practice, if not by election.
Exactly. McCray controlled budgets, directed policy, and managed staff. Contrast that with Duwaji, who holds zero formal titles. She is an artist.
Right. She doesn't run a city agency. She doesn't control taxpayer money. Mamdani's defense hinges entirely on that technicality. She is legally a private citizen.
But does the average voter actually care about who is technically on the payroll? To a guy on the street, the First Lady of New York City is a public figure, right?
Usually, yeah.
In the court of public opinion, I'm not sure a legal technicality holds water.
And you are hitting on the exact friction point. Legally, she's private.
Yeah.
Optically, she's intrinsically tied to the mayor's brand. Which brings up a fascinating parallel that happened just a few days prior to this dropping. We have to talk about Representative Dan Goldman.
Yes, because Mamdani is not the only New York politician dealing with a spouse's social media right now. Goldman faced intense blowback for the exact same reason, but on the other side of the political spectrum.
Goldman faced heavy criticism because his wife was liking and sharing posts that attacked Palestinians and pro-Palestinian Jews.
So on the surface, the situations look identical. A prominent politician, an explosive international conflict, and a spouse clicking like on controversial posts.
But there is a crucial distinction between the two women. This is a real aha moment for anyone trying to understand the different ways these scandals are being treated by the press and political operatives.
What's the distinction?
It comes down to the formal structure of the campaign. While Duwaji holds no official role for Mamdani, Dan Goldman's wife actually serves as his campaign treasurer.
Wait, his campaign treasurer, that is a formal legal position with the Federal Election Commission.
Precisely. It changes the entire dynamic. Goldman's wife holds a formal role in his political operation.
Okay, that makes sense.
When she speaks or likes a post, it is much harder to argue she is just a private citizen completely separate from the politician's platform. She is literally on the political organization's paperwork.
So how is the public digesting all of this?
Yeah.
We looked at Reddit to get the pulse of the city, and to put it mildly, it is chaotic out there.
Highly chaotic.
The city is deeply polarized, and users are fiercely debating if a double standard exists between how Mamdani and Goldman are being treated.
The Reddit threads are incredibly revealing. They show us exactly how voters process political news today, and it is mostly through the lens of jurisdiction and hypocrisy.
How so?
You have one camp arguing that Goldman's wife's opinions matter way more because he is a federal representative. He sits in Congress. He literally votes on international policy, foreign aid, and military funding.
Their argument is basically that a city mayor deals with local issues like trash collection, subway safety, and zoning laws. Why do we care what a local mayor's wife thinks about foreign policy?
Right. But then the other camp fires back, accusing those critics of massive hypocrisy.
What's their angle?
They point out that liking posts appearing to celebrate a violent massacre is disqualifying for public association, no matter what level of government your spouse works in. They argue moral clarity shouldn't depend on whether you are fixing potholes or funding foreign militaries.
And sadly, if you spend more than 5 minutes on these Reddit threads, The discourse gets toxic incredibly fast.
It really does. Instead of debating the actual facts of what was liked and what it means for proxy endorsement, the forums instantly devolve into extreme accusations.
Just totally unhinged stuff.
Users throw around terms like MAGJ as a catch-all insult for anyone they disagree with, or even baselessly call each other pedophiles. It perfectly illustrates how social media platforms incentivize pure outrage over any kind of nuanced discussion.
It's just wild to see people shouting past each other like that. But reading through that outrage forces us to look closer at Mayor Mamdani himself. Because he isn't exactly a blank slate when it comes to the Middle East.
No, definitely not.
If you were a mayor who only ever talked about local property taxes, this might blow over.
Yeah.
But that's not his record.
Far from it. This spouse controversy is acting as an accelerant, because Mamdani is already walking a very dangerous political tightrope. He has a highly complex, often strained relationship with both the Jewish community and his own progressive base in New York.
Right. On paper, as we mentioned, his official current stance unequivocally condemns Hamas. But his rhetoric regarding Israel has been historically fierce.
Mamdani frequently accuses the Israeli government of waging a genocidal war. He regularly labels Israel's policies as apartheid and describes their presence as an occupation.
Right.
So while he draws a hard line at Hamas, his intense criticism of Israel makes his progressive supporters happy, but deeply alienates many Jewish community leaders across the city.
And he has taken actions that go way beyond just statements. This isn't just about harsh words. During his mayoral run, he made a pledge that honestly made me do a double take.
Which one?
He literally pledged that, if elected, he would order the New York Police Department to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he stepped foot in the city.
Which is an extraordinary statement for a mayoral candidate to make. Logistically and legally, it is virtually impossible for local police to arrest a foreign head of state under international diplomatic immunity. But as a political signal, it is deafening.
He also publicly stated he would refuse to attend the annual Israel Day Parade in New York. Historically, that is a massive cultural event that mayors almost universally participate in to show solidarity with the city's massive Jewish population.
And his refusal sparked huge disputes with Israeli officials. Add to that his personnel decisions, which have kept the fire burning.
Who did he appoint?
He named an activist to his transition team who had previously been booted from the Women's March specifically for anti-Semitism. He also considered a known critic of Orthodox Judaism for a role in the city's office to combat anti-Semitism.
Okay, so when you lay all that out, the aggressive rhetoric, the arrest pledge, the parade refusal, the controversial appointments, it completely reframes the Instagram controversy.
It raises the most important question of this entire deep dive. When your public record is filled with aggressive stances against Israel, does the public view your wife's social media likes as an isolated incident by a private citizen? Or do they view it as a quiet confirmation of what the administration truly believes behind closed doors?
Wow. That is exactly what voters were trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And it isn't just about Israel either. Mamdani's foreign policy stances are causing him headaches on multiple fronts.
Oh, absolutely.
Just recently, the U.S. and Israeli military carried out strikes on Iran. Mamdani immediately issued a statement condemning the operation, calling it a catastrophic escalation in an illegal war of aggression.
And the immediate fallout from that statement was significant. When the press pushed back, because New York has a large Iranian-American population with very diverse views on the radar, regime reporters asked him directly if the world, or Iran, would be better off without its supreme leader.
And Mamdani completely dodged the question. He refused to answer it directly. It just seems like international politics are an absolute minefield for local leaders right now.
It is a no-win situation. And speaking of minefields, there is a really funny yet telling side note here. Mamdani isn't the only local politician feeling the heat from all sides.
Who else?
Former City Comptroller Brad Lander, who is actually challenging Dan Goldman, is getting totally roasted online for trying to navigate this exact same tightrope.
Oh, the Brad Pander campaign.
Yes, Brad Pander. The internet remains ruthless.
It really is. A parody website pops up attacking Lander for trying to appease both Zionists and anti-Zionists at the exact same time. It photoshops him into all these contradictory situations, basically saying he stands for nothing because he's trying to please everyone in a deeply divided city.
It's humorous, but it highlights the exact same pressure cooker Mamdani is in. Local politicians in a diverse global city like New York are finding it nearly impossible to thread the needle on international conflicts.
It is a pretty shocking
If you take a hard
realization when
stance, you
actually
alienate
look at the
half your
math.
constituency.
Well,
If you try to
imagine
play
for
the
a
middle,
second
you
that
get
you have a
mocked as a
savings account.
pander.
So what does this all mean for you? Listen, you swore to your family, hand over heart. Let's zoom out and synthesize what money was strictly for fixing. You're looking at a city leader who is responsible for navigating this roof, $127 billion
It's an existential crisis for the House.
Exactly. It's the save the house fund. His primary job is supposed to be keeping your car breaks down, managing the public schools, and making sure the trains run on time in a massive metropolis.
You take that money, pay off your credit cards, and tell your family, hey, don't worry, we'll fix the roof later.
Partly by his own past statements and pledges, the roof is the planet. By his wife's Maryland's climate goals.
And why this matters to you is because it highlights the modern reality of political allegiance.
$1.5 billion
in the digital age, the old firewalls of
completely avoidable
no longer
deficit,
apply.
I might add.
Welcome to the
double
deep dive.
tap on an Instagram photo
Today we're
from
exploring
a
a classic case of fiscal sleight of hand coming out of Annapolis.
It forces all of us as
we are
voters
looking
to
at the
ask a really
Strategic
difficult
Energy
question.
Investment Fund.
How much do a
the
spouse's
SAFE.
private views
It's
actually
a huge
reflect
pot of
leaders'
money
true values?
meant to save
Does
the
a like
environment,
equal an
but it's
endorsement
turning
by
into a
proxy?
hidden tax.
It's wild
on
to think
every
about.
single
A
person
decade ago,
paying an
a
spouse's
spouse's
private
Maryland
opinions.
It
stay
really is.
private
It's become the
unless
center
they
of
give
a
a television
huge
interview.
political fight.
Now,
You've got a
every
Democratic
single
governor,
interaction on an
frustrated
app
environmentalists
is
making some
cataloged
very
and
awkward
weaponized.
compromises,
Exactly. The
and
algorithm
conservative
records
critics who are
everything, and
rightly
political
calling this whole
opponents are
thing a
always
shell
watching.
game.
A shell
Which
game.
leads me to one
And when you
final
look at the documents we have
provocative thought for you
today,
to mull over
reports,
as you go about
budget
your day.
proposals, critiques from Senate
Modern
Republicans,
political campaigns
it is really hard to
increasingly
rely
unsee it.
on
Our
the
mission for
aesthetic
this deep dive
and
is
the
simple.
social media savvy
Follow the
of
money.
candidates' family.
Always follow the
In
money.
fact,
We
it has
are
been
going to
widely
see
reported
how
that
a
Rama
fund
Duwaji
designed
helped
to fight
shape
climate
Mamdani's
change
visual
is being
branding
used
and
to
social
plug
media
holes in the
presence
state
during
budget.
his campaign.
And we'll
She
dig into
brought
the
her
argument that
artist's
this
eye
isn't
to his
found money at
political
all.
rise.
This
Right.
is essentially a
Politicians
backdoor
love to blur the
tax on
lines
families.
between public and
Let's
private
get right
when it
into
benefits
it.
their
The
campaign
Strategic
imagery.
Energy
They want the
Investment Fund.
family
It sounds
photo
very
ops and the
official,
relatable
very
social
important.
media posts.
What does it actually do? They
Well,
want the benefits of the
on
spouse's
paper,
appeal.
it is the
So if
state's
campaigns are going to
green
leverage
piggy
the
bank.
spouse to win
This IIF
votes
is
and
managed
build a
by the
brand,
Maryland Energy
have we reached a
Administration.
point
Its
where the
whole stated
concept of a
purpose
private
is to
political
reduce
spouse
energy
is
bills,
officially dead?
cut waste, and
That is the
fund
question.
renewable
Are
energy.
we entering an
Like
era
solar
where
panels
a
and
candidate's
efficiency upgrades?
entire household,
Exactly. But
every
here is the
tweet,
real aha
every-
moment of this story.
like every scroll is held
Where does the
accountable
money
at the ballot
actually
box?
come
It is a
from?
reality.
Because they
Every
aren't just
future
taxing you
candidate
directly
and their
for it.
family is going to have
No,
to
and
face
that's why
before they ever
politicians
decide to
absolutely
run for
love it. It
office.
feels
You aren't
free.
just running.
So about 40%
Your whole
comes
network
from
is
regional
running with
carbon
you.
auctions. Something to think about
But the
next
big
time you
chunk,
blindly
the one
hit
growing
like
like
on
crazy,
Thanks for joining us in this deep dive into the digital paper trail of political
or
families. We'll
ACPs.
catch you
Which
next
is just
time.
a fancy